Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And I already recorded a video to release for you guys. It's just taking so long for YouTube to do what it needs to do. It takes so long. YouTube is so crazy sometimes that news is moving at breakneck speed. So therefore, we must go at breakneck speed. Right now, Representative Anna Paulina Luna announces a task force dedicated to declassifying the Epstein client list, JFK assassination files, and 9/11 records and other classified government documents. For a moment, now I know you guys are all seeing this all over the place and you're like, yeah, it's coming down the pipeline. But again, we are 100,000 foot view people. Have you ever considered for a moment that one of the things that's going on that's holding up all of these confirmations is the concern for this thing? That, oh, we don't want Kash Patel in there because this list might come out. And so what ends up happening is we got behind closed doors, we're lagging, taking our time, we're not going to vote. So here they come and say, all right, listen, y'all playing games. You think Kash Patel is the only way this list could come out. So let's hit you across the head. Bye-ow. And here she comes saying they put a task force together. So I want to listen to this, but it makes all the logical sense in the world that this is leverage against those people who are fighting the agenda to getting Kash Patel and RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard confirmed, because they're behind closed doors playing games because they don't want this list to come out. So the list is what you're afraid of, right? You hold, okay, you think you have the leverage. You think holding up Kash Patel is going to save you? You think holding up RFK Jr. is going to save you? Nah, bro, hold on. Let me show you some sports.
With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A decision not just monumental, but pivotal.
Pivotal.
It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassination.
Now I'm gonna pause. I said this on the Facebook to the quote-unquote cryptic community. I said it would have been nice if somebody in that community had enough sense to realize what was coming down the pipeline and started making FOIA requests to get the information that everybody's looking for. But they're too busy over there arguing and fighting. You this, you that, your mama, your sister. The greatest time of disclosure in the whole entire world is going on. And the people who say we want disclosure, they're not interested in disclosure. They're interested in fight.
Of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. If we are to endure and thrive as a nation, we must restore trust through transparency. The American people must be trusted to think for themselves, to form their own judgments from the truth that they are entitled to know. We've been treated like children for too long and kept in the dark by those we elected to serve us. It is my solemn duty to begin mending this trust, to form a new relationship between the government and the governed. Let us embark on this journey together towards a government that does not serve, but
That
one
is
that
AI
enlightens.
written.
That does not just serve, but one that enlightens.
That is AI
Trust
written.
through
When you hear embark
transparency
on this journey together, that is AI written. Let us embark on this journey together. That is AI. Someone used AI to write that. That is ridiculous that you didn't write that yourself, Anna, Paula, Luna. Let us embark on the journey. Let us use ChatGTP to get up here and write a statement. I'll be damned. We paying all this money for you to use ChatGTP. Listen, I'm going to tell you like this. Between me, you, this microphone, and my Whataburger large water, because that's what this is, because I be trying to stay hydrated, I need the big cup so I can fill the big cup with water all day and sip, sip, sip. You know what I'm saying? Between me, you, the computer, the microphone, and Luna, this ain't good enough for me. No, this ain't good enough for me. And I'm pretty sure you will agree with me that this ain't good enough for you. You want to know why it's not good enough? Because people need to go to prison. I don't want to just know the names on the list. I want to see them getting handcuffed. Yeah. I want to see them clinked and just walking. You know how they got to put the jacket over them and they got to cover them? I don't have no jackets. They put the jacket over and they're suit and they cover their handcuffs. I want to see that. I want to see clink and then walking around and being embarrassed. Because, see, it's going to take the clinking in order to break everybody from under the spell. You see what I'm saying? Because as long as there ain't no clinking, see, people like this lady right here, this thing right here.
Now, the disruptor in chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, "Democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge." And as now, the disruptor in chief, Elon Musk, who,
as long as ain't no handcuffs being put on nobody, people like this could sit up here and just lie. And the craziest thing is CNN should have been out of business. Ain't nobody watching no CNN. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they just lie to us over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Elon Musk, Harry Balls, B.O. Bowles causes a stir. Yeah. Harry Bowles is, and the thing is, see, we move past this moment in time where where everybody's afraid of emotions, right? The boy says circumcision is at a discount, 69% off. This dude is wild. We move past this point where everybody's so afraid of everything, where cancel culture is so prevalent. This is her full little minute speech. Where cancel culture is so powerful and strong that people are afraid to say stuff. That was the first thing to break. That was the first dam to break, the dam of cancel culture. Yeah, and it's broken. So now he on there call himself Harry Bowles. And that's okay. It's okay. I like that. I like the fact that he is mentally and emotionally damaging the media to the point to where they don't know what to say. Now, there were some things that were said on The View, man, that I just don't like. I don't like it, and I want to bring it up. I don't like how The View consistently just lies. I'm talking about lies unlike any lies you've ever seen. This is the first one. This lady right here.
yeah,
Anna Navarro. Listen to what she got to say, which this is the biggest lie I ever seen. Like, she should be sued. I mean, sued into oblivion. But let's listen.
yes.
What about you, Anna?
Okay, well, I don't do sports. I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about...
Yes.
What about
That ain't funny. What he need to do is sign an executive order and export your behind out of the country. You need to be deported. Yeah, she need to be deported. I mean, I wish you could deport people just for lies. And this is the thing that kills me about these people. They do it like it's just nothing to it. You know what I'm saying? Here's another one.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to...
Now, you see, every man on their set should walk off. If I was working a set, I would walk off right then and there. Men are useless. Every man on the set that's handling the camera, that's doing everything, should just walk off. Just walk off. Just straight up. Okay, I'm useless. The camera should just drop like this. Bloom. The light should turn off. Bloom. Oh, we useless? Let's see how that work out for you. But this coven of witches that are on TV every day just sit here and spew the most hate you've ever heard.
I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But with the
she just admitted she's unstable and she needs someone to help her from doing harm to herself. I mean, come on, man. She just told you. She needs a man to keep her from doing harm to herself. Someone should call. Someone please call 911.
exception of somebody like Steve, I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes...
Oh, so Joy's husband is self-sufficient. Like, imagine being married to one of these cackling hens. Like, if Anna, this woman was my wife and she came home after saying that, we'll have some problems in our house. We'll have some problems in the house. What the hell you mean men are useless? So when I go to an event with you and we walking around, I'm the useless dude with you. Well, baby, I wasn't talking about you. You said it on TV. So when I go out, I'm useless. You see, and that's the problem. They got a bunch of weak men at the house that ain't checking them.
It takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth. He can, you know.
That's the problem. I mean, that is the problem. And it's, quite frankly, it's absolutely disgusting. Let's go see what's going on at the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum. Let's see if they had any meltdowns lately. The World Economic Forum. No, I need to go to Anti-World Economic Forum. Anti-World Economic Forum. Anti-World Economic Forum. Anti-World. That's 2023 when they say they're going to make an angrier world. World, anti-world. Where is he at? Where are you, brother? Let's go here. Wide Awake Media. I like this guy, whoever this is. That's pinned. Here we go. I know Bill Gates didn't say this. I know Bill Gates did not say that it's insane that Elon Musk can destabilize the political situation in countries. I know Bill Gates didn't just. I know Bill Gates. I know he didn't.
Bill Gates has blasted fellow.
I know he didn't. I know he didn't. I know he didn't. I know he didn't.
Bill Gates has blasted fellow tech billionaire Elon Musk for his involvement in politics of other countries, including the United Kingdom and Germany. In an interview with The Times, the Microsoft co-founder said Musk's ability to destabilize politics in foreign nations is insane. Gates.
I love it when billionaires beef. I love it. I love it. I love it when billionaires beef. You don't like it when they beef? I think billionaires beefing is the best thing on the planet. I just wish they would take it to the streets. You know what I'm saying? Drive-bys, shootouts. I love it when billionaires beef. Because this man right here don't have a right to say nothing. Nothing.
Gates added he was unable to understand why Elon Musk, who has numerous billion-dollar ventures, is busy meddling in the internal affairs of other nations.
It's really insane that he can destabilize the political situations in countries. I think in the U.S., foreigners aren't allowed to give money. Other countries maybe should adopt safeguards to make sure super rich foreigners aren't distorting their elections.
You know a man by his enemies, ladies and gentlemen. You know a man by his enemies. So all these people are like, Elon Musk is the worst thing on the planet. Here's what I want you to think for yourself for a moment and think. Sit there and think. Ponder this one thing. If I had to choose between Elon Musk and Bill Gates, I mean, if I really had to choose, if one of them handed me a pill and said, eat this. Eat this. I mean, let's just break it down. If one of them handed you a pill and said, eat this, it'll save your life, whose pill would you take? Yeah. Whose pill would you take? Would you take the pill from Billy Gates or would you take the pill from Elon Musk? Now, for some of y'all who will be like, I wouldn't take neither pill, you only got two choices. You're being held at gunpoint. You got a 50 cal to your head. You ain't got no choice but to take one of these pills or get your head exploded like a watermelon. So we're not going to give you no outs. Bill Gates, pill. Elon Musk, pill. Both of them got pills. This is a penny. Ooh, I found me a penny. I told you about them pennies earlier. Eat the pill. Which one you going to take? This Bill Gates pill right here. This Elon Musk pill. Which one you going to take? Answer me right now. You want to know? I say that 97.7% of y'all going to say, I ain't taking nothing that Bill Gates got to offer. You want to know why? Because we know his history. Now, with that being said, if he beefing out with Elon to the point to where he got to go on the news and start talking, or he got to make comments, then we knew where Elon stands.
It's difficult to understand why someone who has a car factory in both China and in Germany, whose rocket business is ultra-dependent on relationships with sovereign nations, and who is busy cutting $2 trillion in U.S. government expenses and running 5 companies, is obsessing about this grooming story in the UK.
Ooh. And you coming out on this, Bill? This is what's bothering you, Bill? That's what bothers Bill Gates? A story in the UK about what?
I'm like, what?
Now, Musk in recent weeks has launched a barrage of attacks on British politicians, including Prime Minister Keir Starmer, for covering up a rape scandal. And now Britain is considering an online safety law that would restrict some of the tech mogul's businesses, including the social media platform X.
Bro, all them people going to do is get them a VPN and go on X. All they going to do is put a VPN on their phone and go on X. That's all they going to do. They're going to say they live in America, and they're going to visit X. You can put whatever law you want. You can't stop people from getting to this information. Yeah. It's amazing, though. It's truly amazing. Let's see what else he got to say. This is the same dude. This is the same dude that got a beef with Elon. But let's listen to what he got to say.
With everything that's been going on in the 2020s, including some of the wild conspiracy theories about you and vaccines, does the world still make sense to you?
You know, things don't always go in a straight line. And if you'd said to me that...
I mean, look at him. Look at him. Who sits like... Let me see if I can sit like he sits.
At a time where we've cut child to death in half since the turn of the century, and the main reason for that is vaccines. And we did save millions of lives during the COVID pandemic because of vaccines, that if you said their reputation would be more confused today than ever, I would have said, are you kidding? You know, somebody with a kind of logical view like I try to have, you know, it is confounding that you have those conspiracy theories. I hope that dies down. You know, the pandemic was a very unusual thing in terms of, you know, the government wanting.
It actually hurts to sit like that. No man sits like that. In that kind of low back chair, you know what you do? You got a low back chair. You slide your butt to the edge of the chair. and you're going to spread your legs wide, and you're going to sit like this on the edge of the chair, and you're going to lean your shoulders forward, and you're going to have your weight on your tippy toes in case you got to stand up and smack somebody. But and your butt's going to be real light on the seat. And then you're going to be sitting there holding your conversation like this. You're not going to be sitting like a weirdo in a chair. You're not going to be sitting like a porn star in a chair, like an overweight pot-belly porn star. You're not going to be doing that. And I know YouTube don't like when you talk about their daddy, but I don't care, quite frankly. I'm going to tell you why I don't care, YouTube, because y'all highlight who the hell y'all want to highlight. So we going to talk about him. You got a porn star, overweight porn star, needle-throwing bastard as your daddy, and you defend him.
To stop the spread of it, and yet, how much was that wise? We clearly kept schools closed longer than we should have. We were learning as we were going, and, another pandemic will come, and, how smart are we going to be about, having the CDC and WHO and the tools ready to go? I'm not sure we focused on preparation, perhaps in the year.
His ass need to be in prison. I'm sorry, his ass needs to be in prison. He need to be in prison right now. He need to be in prison and Gitmo. No, he need to go to El Salvador with them MS-13 dudes and go to prison. That's what need to happen with this dude. I am so sick of that man. And I know y'all utterly sick of him too. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of him. I'm totally and I know many people are sick of all these rank demon monster devil babies. They're just done over it. They're over it. Here it is. Health departments around the world, in conjunction with the World Health Organization. You can see it. Health departments around the world, in conjunction with the World Health Organization, all got the response to blank exactly backwards, and thus facilitated the greatest wealth transfer from poor to rich in real inflation-adjusted terms in the history of humanity. The richest 1% of people amassed almost 2/3 of new wealth created in the last 2 years. Hold on. What you trying to tell me is everybody named mama got rich over the past 2 years? What was going on in the past 2 years? We in 2025. So I go 2024, 2023. What was coming to an end in 2023? Yay. Yeah, they got rich. I'm talking about Dave Chappelle rich. I'm rich. Trick, rich on you is what they did. And it's totally and utterly ridiculous. But see, the problem with these people, you got to hear it out their own mouth. You can't just post it. You got to hear it. Because everybody, you got to hear what they say. Yeah, let's hit on this. I want to comment on this. I want to comment on the ESG score in the ESG movement in corporate government. You see, the ESG thing was rolled in by old BlackRock. Yeah. Now, BlackRock, if you don't know this, the reason why BlackRock is so wealthy and Vanguard is so wealthy is because, you see, when you work in the government, or if you work in the state, or if you work in the school system, you got a pension or you got a 401k, right? And all the states invest their money with the BlackRock or with the Vanguard. So that person who's a teacher, your retirement is actually invested with the BlackRock or the Vanguard. That person who's a police officer, that retirement is invested with the BlackRock and the Vanguard. Actual state governments invest their money, cities invest their money with BlackRock and Vanguard. So then they take that money and they roll out ESG scores and say, okay, we're not going to loan you money unless you do what we say you need to do. Yeah, it's wild. I recall Grant Cardone. The reason why I stopped looking at Grant Cardone, I liked Grant Cardone. I really liked Grant. I thought Grant Cardone was amazing. It's when Grant Cardone started talking about BlackRock. It's when Grant Cardone started deleting videos. And I watched it. He said, well, BlackRock has a plan where you won't be able to own the house and everybody will be renting. So the best thing we can do right now is buy these houses, blah, 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 blah. 2 days later, he deleted that whole 3 videos of it. And I said, oh, yeah, there's truth to the conspiracy that BlackRock is doing. And it's played out right in front of everybody's face. Everybody's face. And so the ESG score is what they hold over you for banking and to get money. I get money. The
precursor to this whole debanking thing was this bizarro ESG movement in corporate America. And that was happening before the regulators thought, hot dog, we got another issue we can, shove at these guys. So whether it's, I've talked to many of the bank presidents who very much support the legislation that me and 40 of my closest friends so far have introduced, the Fair Access to Banking Act, which doesn't require, by the way, a bank to do anything, but it does prohibit them from categorically discriminating against legal industries. And the reason some of the bank presidents who have never dared say it out loud tell me they support it is because they want this burden removed from them. They want this political pressure from their 30-year-old staff or the regulator, that they fear, or the political movement of the day, or the activist investors that are trying to impose their values.
Those activist investors are called BlackRock and Vanguard. Yeah, they're BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock and Vanguard.
They want that removed from them. I'm just saying, let's not discriminate against large industry.
Let's not discriminate against businesses because they won't have this ESG score that you want them to have. Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing the level of foolishness that we have to deal with. Did my man just say he taking Gaza?
I really think we're making some very good progress.
Mr. President, you've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
There's no reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, I really think we're making.
So the king of Jordan decided he was going to take in 2,000 refugees.
One of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on Gaza.
I don't know about I don't like people just taking children. I'm sorry. I don't like the whole we taking children because I feel like there's too much to be going on with the children. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I'm not saying I don't trust Donald with the children. I'm just saying I don't like that.
Challenges.
So you just please. I didn't know that what you just said. 2,000 children with cancer or other problems.
He said with cancer or other problems. Okay. All right. So these are 2,000 children who need medical assistance. All right.
I didn't know that what you just said. 2,000 children with cancer or other problems, and that's really a beautiful gesture. That's really good, and we appreciate it. And
one of the things that we can do right away is take.
Let's stay on this Gaza thing. Let's see what else Donald saying about Gaza.
But the only thing I can say is this is going to bring stability and peace to the Middle East. And ultimately, when it's developed, which will be in quite a while from now, because we want to let things calm down. But when it's developed, it's going to bring tremendous numbers of jobs to the Middle East, including the people of your country.
What if it does not bring peace to the Middle East? There are many Palestinians, even though you say that everything is going to be beautiful, everything is going to be lovely, they're not going to want to go back. There are going to be people who want to go back.
Why does she sound so crazy? You hear that?
I feel like that it is their right to do that. You haven't said, will there be any type of repercussions or anything that happens?
We don't think that's going to happen. We think we think people are going to be very happy, thrilled. A lot of those people that you're talking about are going to end up maybe living there and maybe working there, but it'll be in a different form. We have had tremendous support for this project, and we think the biggest asset of the project is going to bring peace ultimately to the Middle East.
Well, it's time for peace in the Middle East. It's time for all this foolishness. I mean, they've been arguing and fighting since the biblical days, and it's time for that to end. Now, somebody will say, DW, you Zionists. Man, shut up. Shut up. Shut all the way the hell up. Shut up. I don't care about your feelings. Shut up. I don't. Let's see what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has to say about the person that I want to see get dealt with is Bill Gates. I'm sorry. I want to see Bill Gates get dealt with, man. That's the one that makes me hot under the collar. He the one that make me hot under the collar, dog. Because he just run around like a stark raving lunatic, sitting in chairs like this with his neck poked out like this and then talking. And I think that things should be in like a psychopath. Like it puts the lotion on its skin.
And I read an article from the New York Times that Bill Gates had just donated $50 million to Kamala Harris's campaign.
Now, mind you, Bill Gates got a problem with Elon Musk, but he gave $50 million to Kamala. $50 million to Kamala. Bill, when you didn't get real good rate of return on that money, it probably wasn't even Bill's money. It probably was USAID's money.
And the article said that it was the first donation that he's made in 20 years, that he stayed out of politics, that he's been bipartisan. It was a dark money donation.
Get him. Get him.
He didn't intend for it to be public. He routed the donation through a 501c4, which was an organization that was set up to conceal large money donations to the Harris campaign. Now, he said, when the Times asked him, he said he had donated zero in the 2020 campaign when President Biden was running against President Trump. And he said this campaign is different than any other. And so he felt the need to do this. Now, do you think Bill Gates made that donation out of a patriotic impulse?
No. No, I don't think so.
Do you think he made it out of a humanitarian impulse?
No.
Do you think he made it because he wants global health?
No.
Or because he wants to make America healthy again?
No.
Well, there was something else, another article about Bill Gates that came out today that said he's just been indicted.
Amen. I need him to get that work in America.
He's been indicted in the Netherlands.
No. We need him to get that work here. He need to get that work right here in America. Not in the Netherlands. He need to get that work right here.
For lying to the public about the COVID vaccine.
I'm telling you, the minute he get that work here, a lot of the censorship got to die that they've been using. He got to get that work. He got to get that work.
and he's going to have to go to trial. You think that he wants to go to trial here in the United States of America? You think maybe that's one of the reasons he chose to give $50 million to Kamala Harris?
Yep, that's what I think. He need to get that work, RFK Jr. RFK Jr., when you get in there, you need to dump all his stuff or everything and make sure he get that work. Yeah, that's I'm telling you, the day he get that work, I'm popping open a bottle of champagne and drinking it, the whole thing, like I'm Dame Dash right here on camera. I'm drinking it like this and I'm dancing. I'm drinking the whole thing right here on camera because he need to get that work. He needs to get that work, man. He needs to get that work. We're going to swing over to the fact that the FBI and everybody and their mama, I don't want Jack Alex like that. The FBI and everybody and their mama, oh my Lord, what is this? Look at this thing.
Congresswoman, what do you have to say about the fact that FEMA just spent $59 million housing illegal immigrants while people in Western North Carolina lived in tents for the past...
They're like a Negro version of Dog Vase.
Past 4 months. What do you have to say about that? Do you accept that? Do you accept that? Do you accept the fact that because Doge exposed that today, it sounds like you have a big problem with the fact that Doge. I'm not blocking her.
Excuse me.
I'm not blocking.
Excuse me.
Is that? Are you okay with that? Do you condemn the fact that Doge exposed FEMA for sending $59 million to house illegal immigrants today?
Excuse me, sir.
Do you condone that?
Excuse me, sir.
I don't know who the
I don't know who. I tell you what. If I don't know who you are. Let's go. You're in the way.
I'm not in the way.
You are in the way.
Okay, then get out of my way. Oh, what's that? What's that?
Look at that demon. Y'all saw that demon manifest? Look at that. We want to watch this demon manifest. Watch it. Look at that demon right there. Look at that demon. Look at that bald-headed demon.
You are in
Watch,
the way.
watch.
Okay, then get out of my way.
Here it come. Boom. Rah, Satan. Satan. I'll kill you. Oh. There it is. Look at that demon manifesting. Right there in her face. Ah, Satan. Oh, I'll rip your head off and shove it up your butt. Ah, ah, ah.
What's that?
You see it in the eyes? Y'all saw it? Ah.
What's that look? What's that look?
That was that demon looking at you, boy. This is why you can't be voting no bald-head demons in the office. Who the hell voted for her? Look at that thing, man. Look at that thing. And I see it on TV all the time. You know what I'm saying? Now, I like the fact that J.D. Vance addressed the AI because AI is the most powerful weapon that is uncontrolled at this point in time. And I do mean it's uncontrolled because we have a war going on for who will have the most advanced AI. And I'm just going to keep it real with you. America clearly got the most advanced AI already. I'm sorry. There's no way you're going to expect me to believe that DARPA, who created the internet, and DARPA, who created all this other stuff, ain't the ones who created the artificial intelligence. There's no way. I'm sorry. They may not admit it, but there's no way you're going to convince me that the artificial intelligence didn't come out of DARPA. And if it did come out of DARPA, which we know it had to come out of DARPA, then it's way far more advanced than anybody knows. Matter of fact, let's do some DARPA. Watch this. DARPA. 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 Now let's just take a listen. 2016 Code Conference, Elon Musk.
But the constraint is input output. So we're I/O bound, particularly output bound. I mean, like your output level is so low. It's like particularly on a phone, like your two thumbs just sort of tapping away.
No, they got that music. We can't use it. I'm sorry. We can't use it though because they got the music, and all it's gonna do is gonna cause us a problem. DARPA expert discusses nanobot mind controls and admits to complaints from targeted individuals.
I'm Dr. James Giordano, 2018 O'Malley.
Why you got to keep putting the freaking music on it, man? Just let people talk. What is wrong with y'all?
Have you ever asked yourself why it is that every screen comes out blue? They don't have red. You actually have to put software in to change it. There's a reason, my friend. Do you understand the game that's going on?
No, I'm not doing all that with you either. Sorry, guys. I'm not doing that. No, we're not doing that either because that's common sense. We already know it was the government that did mRNA. We already know it was a government DARPA that started Facebook. It's kind of like, they started Smart Dust. If you've been on this channel for a while, I kind of did a deep dive into DARPA myself already. And the best way to find stuff on DARPA, let's go to youtube.com. Let's just go to DARPA's own website. That's actually, their YouTube channel. They have a YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're really hiding anything. DARPA. Let's see what they're promoting right now. Start with the music, DARPA. Defending authenticity in a digital world. DARPA Triage Challenge event. Let's go to videos. I don't have to do all this editing, but guess what?
Bacher. Everybody, it's just great to see all of you here again this morning. Up in the rafters, this is terrific. Oh, they're awake up in the rafters. That's really great. Many of you were here yesterday when Secretary Carter opened Wait What for us. I wanted to share with you that after he left here, he spent time in the demo hall and he got a private tour. He spent about twice as much time as he was originally scheduled, and I watched all of you in the demo hall later in the day, and he got to enjoy the exact same thing. So that was really, really a terrific start. I want to make a couple of additional introductions today because we have two special guests with us, also from the Pentagon, and they are sitting right over here. One is Undersecretary Frank Kendall. Frank, would you please stand? Great to have you here. And Frank Kendall is the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. And for those of you who don't speak Pentagon titles, let me tell you what he does. I'll explain it to you the way he told us his wife explains it to her colleagues, which is, she says, well, my husband buys things that the Pentagon needs, and if they ask her what he buys, she says he buys everything that the Pentagon needs. And that means everything from office supplies to R&D contracts to F-35s. And so Frank Kendall has a really important job, and one of his responsibilities, the T in AT&L, is technology. The second person I would like to introduce who's here with us is Steve Welby. Steve, would you please stand?
Well, why you got us watching this? You don't want to put this. Why am I watching this, Lord?
Steve is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Systems Engineering, and he is also the President's nominee to serve as the next Assistant Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. And so what is on Steve's plate, what he does every day, is nothing less than work on the strategy for the military systems and capabilities for the future of the Defense Department and our military. So he's got a huge job on his plate as well. By the way,
his name is Steve what?
The President's nominee to serve as the next Assistant Secretary of Defense. Steve is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Systems Engineering, and he is also the President's nominee to serve as the next Assistant Secretary of Defense for Research. Steve is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Systems Engineering, and he is also
what's Steve's last name?
Really important job, and one of his responsibilities, the T in AT&L, is technology. The second person I would like to introduce who's here with us is Steve Welby. Steve, would you please stand? Steve is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Systems Engineering, and he is also the President's nominee to serve as the next Assistant Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. And so what is on Steve's plate, what he does every day, is nothing less than to do Wait What, and thanks for taking the time to join us. We're just thrilled to have you.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you for giving me your name so I can look you up.
Okay, we got off to a great start yesterday. Tell me your highlights. What was your favorite thing? Demos. People like the demos. Anyone go to the Why It Matters talks at the demo hall? It was crowded. Those were great. Those, if you didn't get there, today at lunch is your next time for those of you who are here in St. Louis with us. Anyone else? Got a favorite? What was your favorite talk? Femtophotography. That was very cool. That was very cool. Let me tell you what some people said on the app. Someone who was here said, "This is not my usual crowd. I'm definitely the only guy here in a Hawaiian shirt. I'm hoping you're wearing it today because I'm looking forward to seeing it." So that was cool. Someone said they really liked the convergence of unlikely variables to create a potentially new field. Perfect. That's one of the things we wanted to do here. Someone else was a little more specific. They said they would eagerly await improvements in diaper design after Zach Serber's talk yesterday about impossible materials. And then finally, someone had a little love for the people running the live stream. They said, yet again, whoever runs the @DARPA live streams has excellent taste in music. Dave Brubeck, that's awesome. And I think that was awesome. So fun. You know, more important than all of that, yesterday when I looked around everywhere, I saw really intense conversations going on. And that is a really great
Shut up.
with us. You know, there are also some people here who know DARPA very deeply, and they are. Let's see, so that's really the work that this is all about. Let me tell you what we are going to be doing today. We've got a second really great day. We're here together in the plenary session with the live cast this morning. And then for those who are here in St. Louis, in the middle of the day, we'll do demos, and then in the afternoon, breakouts. The plenary session today is going to start with 3 brief presentations that I'll come back to and describe from 3 of our DARPA risers. So let me come back to that. The rest of the morning, we're going to be exploring the future of artificial intelligence. We're going to be talking about bioethics.
Thank you, Lord. So they're talking about the future of, well, you just wanted me to prove the point. Thank you, Lord. I want to show you something. This video is 9 years old. Can you see that? No, you can't see it because my head in the way. This video is 9 years old. 1,000 views 9 years ago. So 9 years ago, they were talking about the future of artificial intelligence, which only proves the fact that all this AI came out of DARPA. Now, DW, what is you saying? Because you lost me. Wake up. Stay off the short bus. When there is no AI race, there is no AI war, there is no AI warfare. We already got it. The only reason why China probably got it is because this lady or somebody equivalent gave it to them. 9 years ago, they talking about AI. Don't believe me? Listen to it again. Don't believe me? Just watch.
Plenary session today is going to start with 3 brief presentations that I'll come back to and describe from 3 of our DARPA risers. So let me come back to that. The rest of the morning, we're going to be exploring the future of artificial intelligence. We're going to be talking about bioethics. We're going to get into complex systems design for these phenomenally vast number of components that we're now trying to deal with. Then we're going to head off planet and go on orbit with small sats. So it's going to be a good ride this morning. Please keep asking great questions here in the theater. Post them on the activity feed early during the presentation so that we can start to try to get to those as well.
I would love to go to one of these DARPA conventions, but I talk too much trash about them. They ain't about to let me in now. And I'm a snitch. I get in there, I have a camera, I'll probably get arrested because I'll be like, y'all ain't gonna believe the stuff they got in here. Let's keep going down this rabbit hole if y'all don't mind. So, DARPA, wait, what forum AI? Let's see if they actually, art of AI technology. Let's see what comes up. 9 years ago, I-20 breakout session, AI ascendant, DARPA, wait, what? Smart software in the world with risk. Vincent Tang, not even once. Wait. We found it. We found it. We found it. All right, let's be smart about this. They have this stuff sectioned out.
Welcome, everyone. This is AI Ascendant.
Intelligent scientists, robot behavior, anomaly detection,
I'm a technology reporter for the
autonomy.
moderating the panel. And my job is to introduce members.
Legal machine learning. Here we go.
But when we come to a machine learning system, say a deep learning system for computer vision, it's much more difficult to try to figure out how we can say, well, here are the 500 images that were most similar to the one you just gave me. But interestingly, we don't expect people to be able to give an explanation either of how did you decide I was holding a glass in my hand? Well, because we can't explain it ourselves. So I think the expectations about what should be explainable and what aren't are pretty fluid.
Sure, bro. They was holding this conversation in September 14th, 2015. This video was recorded September 14th, 2015, and they're talking about large language models. Let me show you. Let me show you so you won't think I'm lying to you. September 14th, 2015. And just so you know, let me go. Let me show you what section we on. Language machine language, and then the next one is deep learning. So this AI warfare crap that they're talking about ain't no war. No, it ain't no war. There's no such thing as a war. And with that being said, I'm going to say this. This has already been unleashed on the American people. As a person who dabbles with AI here and there and holds conversations with it on a regular basis, first of all, if you don't use AI to teach you, I role play with my AI on negotiating. So I'm like, okay, we're negotiating on $1 million building. Let's role play. I'm trying to buy it for $700,000. You're staying firm at $1 million, and I'll go back and forth with my to sharpen my negotiation skills. I go back and forth with it all day long. If I got a break, smoke a cigar, I'm going back and forth trying to negotiate because you got a person who can tap into all the negotiation techniques, and so we're like, okay, use this technique against me, use this whatever. That's my business. The point I'm making is, bruh, you've already been hit with this. They already been using this on the American population. This is where all the propaganda come from, dog. Yeah, this is where all the propaganda. The thing that pisses me off to the highest point of all pissivity is all these people we think is smart ain't smart at all. They just got it from these folk. So Sam Altman over there pretended, yeah, AI is a threat to the whole world, and I'm concerned about the AI and blah, 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 blah. And we at OpenAI, we've been doing blah, blah. No, what happened is y'all set up a nonprofit company, and probably this dude right here on the screen said, hey, I work with DARPA. We're going to need to release this artificial intelligence for the next phase of domination of all human beings, and I'm going to release it to you. And so when Sam Altman starts to charge me for ChatGTP, they already charged me taxes to create it. I'm double paying, man. They double dipping, man. That's what I'm saying. Damn, they double dipping on me.
I still think that's a good example, though, and we could ask for our systems to do more in that direction. And,
yes.
And that's one thing that I'm
we need
very
some closed
excited
captions
about.
because they talk all
the
soft
work
like they innocent.
Many of us have been pursuing at the intersection of language and vision. We now have these systems that can be trainable to go from images to language, and a great use of.
All right, so in 2015, he said we had systems that could be trainable to go from images to languages. So in 2015, they already had language model systems. Come on, brother, it's 2015. We're in 2025, dog. They've been using this for 10 years. 10 years.
Of that, I think, is to make systems seem more accountable or be explicitly more accountable. And at least to the same degree that a human could explain why that looks like a glass, I could say it's clear and sort of round and has liquid in it. I mean, maybe we can explicitly constrain our machines to make those same sorts of explanations. And for glass, it's not as compelling, but for a black-eared, double-billed woodpecker or whatever it is, there probably is a little story that the expert wants to tell you about. Oh, it's the coloration on the tail and its configuration or something. And I think if our machines also could output that, that's probably the most optimistic view, I think, for how deep learning algorithms could open their own black box, in a sense, by being explicitly trained to tell stories about why they are functioning.
And I think even if you cannot explain exactly how that black box of a certain algorithm worked, you can.
Let me stop right here. Are you listening to what they're saying? If you can't explain how the black box of a system works, or the black box of a certain algorithm works, if you can't explain how it works, hold on, dog. Wait. Let me use some good old-fashioned Negro common sense. Wing. Are you saying to me that you done created something that you don't know how it worked? Let's replay this in a replay like it's a football game. Go back to what they saying. Instant replay. Flag on the play. Let's listen.
And I think even if you cannot explain exactly how that black box of a certain algorithm worked, you can certainly say it was given this kind of training data, right?
Flag on the play. Unnecessary roughness. What? What? Are you sitting here telling me right now that in 2015 they had some stuff that they created that these big brain, big bug scientists did not know how it worked, but it was working. Man, flag on the play. Let's listen again. Guys, you listen to this and make sure I'm not crazy. I want you to listen. Listen and read the words. Read all the words. Read the words.
Most similar to the one you just gave me.
Why y'all talk so low?
But interestingly, we don't expect
Crazy,
people to be able
Lord?
to give an explanation either of, you know, what.
Psychopaths always talk low.
How did you decide I was holding a glass
It puts
in my
the
hand?
lotion on its skin. It puts the lotion on its skin. It puts the lotion on its skin.
Because we can't explain it ourselves. So I think the expectations about what should be explainable and what aren't are pretty fluid.
I still think that's a good example, though, and we could ask for our systems to do more in that direction. And,
yes.
And that's one thing that I'm very excited about is the recent work many of us have been pursuing at the intersection of language and vision. We now have these systems that can be trainable to go from images to language. And a great use of that, I think, is to make systems seem more accountable or be explicitly more accountable, and at least to the same degree that
to make a system be more accountable and explicitly more accountable. Lord, what does that mean? To make a system be self-sufficient? If I'm held, if you right there, if I'm making you be held accountable, accountability is something that happens with age, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So to make a system more accountable is a nice way of saying to make a system sentient. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So what you're trying to tell me right now is they got AIs today. That's Terminator. Today.
that a human could explain why that looks like
Because the only reason why the computer will be able to explain what that is because it's reached a level of understanding that's completely human. Bruh. The hell wrong with these people? I'm sorry. We supposed to be, let me stay focused.
a glass. I could say it's clear and sort of round and has liquid in it. I mean, maybe we can explicitly constrain our machines to make those same sorts of explanations. And for glass, it's not as compelling, but for a black-eared double-billed woodpecker or whatever it is, there probably is a little story that the expert wants to tell you about. Oh, it's the coloration on the tail and its configuration or something. And I think if our machines also could output that, that's probably the most optimistic view, I think, for how deep learning algorithms could open their own black box, in a sense, by being explicitly trained to tell stories about why they are functioning.
And I think even if you cannot explain exactly how that
hold on. Listen to the last thing he says. Right, explicitly trained to tell stories about why they are functioning. This is wild.
Explanations, and for glass, it's not as compelling, but for a black-eared double-billed woodpecker or whatever it is, there probably is a little story that the expert wants to tell you about. Oh, it's the coloration on the tail and its configuration or something. And I think if our machines also could output that, that's probably the most optimistic view, I think, for how deep learning algorithms could open their own black box, in a sense, by being explicitly trained to tell stories about why they are.
How learning algorithms can open their own black box. So a learning algorithm opening its own black box would mean it becoming sentient, because it means that it's an algorithm that was taught, but it gets to a point to where it opens its own box and it teaches itself. These bastards done created the damn Terminator. Where the hell is John O'Connor when you need him?
Functioning.
And I think even if you cannot explain exactly how that black box of a certain algorithm worked, you can certainly say it was given this kind of training data, right? So this car was trained in all kinds of roads, all kinds of weather, all kinds of things. So you can actually document the context of, of how that activity occurred. right?
We're in strong agreement in the sense that I think it's very desirable that these systems be able to explain themselves, and often that's important just for debugging them.
How in Sam hell do you make a system that you don't know how it works and you need the system to explain itself to you? How? Who thought that was a great idea? Oh my Lord. And they already done it. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. So this was these are deep level conversations they're holding in 2015. This means that this was done in what, 2012, 2011? Oh my Lord, these people here.
Even, because you can say when it makes a mistake, well, why did it make that mistake?
And I was going to say, I said before I have more fear of humans. So people actually explain away.
Yes.
They don't explain, they explain away. They make up a story about why they made a decision. And we see that a lot when you actually study and analyze human behavior. So, so the fact that humans say, I can explain a decision and I did it with all this, doesn't necessarily mean it was done following what they're explaining to you. So,
wait, big strong chin lady. Did you hear what the strong chin lady just said? Strong chin lady just said, the reason why I'm afraid of humans. And she's literally saying, they're talking about the system explaining what it's doing. And she's basically saying, the reason why she's afraid of humans, which is what they're patterning this after, is because you can explain away the decision that you make. Meaning, I can hit you across the head with this cup and spill water all on you and then explain the justification as to why I just assaulted you. It doesn't mean that assaulting you was the right thing to do. It just means that I can explain it. And so what she's saying is the ability to explain is not enough because humans can explain away things. This is so far gone. This is utterly terrifying.
So, kind of continuing this line of thought, that if you're able to have some piece of machine learning or whatever model you have there explain why it's making decision, explain why it's making the decision. Maybe you can use that explaining aspect to reason about things that it can and cannot do, right? So being able to limit the set of inputs or characterize the set of inputs under which you agree with the decision or decision.
Hold on, I wish I was there. I wish I was sitting with them. I wish I was sitting in the room with them when they were having this conversation, because it's clearly obvious that if something gets to the point to where it can explain itself, it reached the point to where it justified its decision. You're not going to box in its decisions. Not with a parameter like, oh, we're going to give you some parameters. No. It has the ability to justify what it's doing. And if it can justify what it's doing, it'll justify a way around your parameters. What the hell is wrong with these people?
Is actually going to be acceptable as opposed to the set of inputs. And it's interesting that you brought up the lending. It's been shown that there's bias, right? So because there's bias in the data in terms of lending histories. There's also bias in these algorithms that bring out and people from underrepresented groups or people from lower social things that are not necessarily tied to the lend decision itself. It still biases against them, and that's a fear, right? So that is a legitimate fear of moving the decision making.
And so this is when all the social justice foolishness got injected into AI. At this point is when they started holding these conversations of adding all this foolishness into the AI.
To a fully autonomous, to a fully AI.
Guys, this is gonna be a while. I'm recording this for me. I'm like researching this for myself. So you just ride with me. This video might be 2 hours long. So if you're gonna stick around, screw it. If you're not, whatever, bye.
System without any human supervision or human in the loop. But once you can explain, once the lending software will tell you, because a lot of people in this neighborhood didn't get loans, then you shouldn't give this person a loan too, then you realize that's not necessarily the right And then maybe you can kind of fix
well,
it.
And to be fair to, they also, it's no single thing. It's thousands of signals are used, so it isn't how you filled out the form. Because the one that's always the funny one is that how you fill out the online form. There's a slight correlation. If you fill it out all uppercase, you're worst. All lowercase, next. Proper case, best. And as the guy who was the CIO of Google said, who set up this set up one of these. It's called Zest Finance, and it's Douglas Merrill is his name. He said, "Look, I can make up a story about why that's true, but I have no idea." Right? And in fairness, it's one of a gazillion of these kinds of things that are used.
But interestingly, there has been some recent work. There's some interest in the machine learning community on fairness in machine learning, and there's some interesting research in which you say you want to have a loan application thing that does not discriminate on the basis of sex. So one thing you can do is first use all of those thousands of features that you have, the case of the letters or whatever, to predict the sex of the person. And then you can require that the informationally, the only information the computer can use is information that is independent of all that information that was used to predict sex. And so you can actually prove that the computer is not using sex in making its decision. And so I think we could actually, coming back to computers being maybe better decision makers than people, we could make computer systems that were provably not using race or sex or whatever constraints you wanted to put. You could give pretty strong guarantees that they weren't being used in making these decisions.
Yeah, and this gets back to, it's originally Tim Berners-Lee talked about this trust layer, right, that we want to build in the web, which was what you're working on, and now he has this startup, actually, that goes by that name. But, part of this is the social engineering side. I mean, in the sense, or simply the social side. I mean, there are some class of people that are petrified to get on an airplane. Statistically, it's much safer per mile than driving in a car, all that kind of stuff. That isn't the answer. Or the design of the original Nest thermostat. When the first experiments with it, they figured they'd take a few settings for the people and take over. The testing group hated it because they weren't in control. So they changed it so that you could constantly intervene all you want. People, they put in a few settings. They saw it worked pretty well. That was fine. I mean, the inputs were exactly the same in a way, but there was a small design change, and it was as much behavioral as anything else that resulted in people saying, "Great, let them take over." And I think there's this.
Wow. All right. What did he just say? What was the analogy that he just gave? So they're talking about, the context of the conversation is AI. And what he's talking about very intelligently, but very cloaked in words, is he used the example of like the very first Nest thermostat, which we know the Nest thermostat is what spies on your whole house, and how people didn't like the design. So they gave them some options to give input and control over it, and then people accepted it. The objective of the Nest and all those devices, which is our Internet of Things devices, is to get them inside of your house. And so basically what he's saying is the way we get this technology inside of people's house is give them some control over it. Oh my God. Where do these got to be aliens, man. They got to be damn aliens. This is crazy. Let me move on to the next. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Hold on. Let me go back one. Lord, I don't know where to go. Steve. You said Steve. Steve. Welding. WELDY. Weldy. All right, here he is. Steve Weldy. Who the hell is Steve Weldy? Secretary of Defense Ash Carter. I am become life. You have got to be kidding me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
This year. And so I want to talk about those risks and about the research challenges that people are currently
Forgive me, guys.
addressing
We're going to
to
skip
try
to
to manage those
topics
risks.
that he's talking about.
And then in the third part of the talk, I'm going to briefly ask, well, as AI technology continues to advance, where is it leading us in the long term? So what is artificial intelligence? Well, it's the creation of smart software. And we usually think of this as having many different components. For example, we think a lot about perception. So computer vision, speech recognition, tactile feedback and touch systems, even artificial noses, these kinds of sensory modalities. And we try to give computers the ability to sense as well as or even better than people. But sensing isn't everything. Then we need to also use that information to, for instance, well, I guess...
Now, somebody may say, well, why are you skipping? Because I'm being told to skip. And quite frankly, guys, if you made it this far in the video, you're paying attention. This is how I've said this before on interviews with people who will be like, well, DW, we want you to come on our show and tell us the truth about the cryptids and the ghosts and the monsters. I'd be like, dog, all you got to do is ask Jesus. And they'd be like, well, what do you mean? Just literally, show me what you want me to see. And so I just skip to this to listen to this. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, we this far in the video. I mean, this is an hour and 21 minutes in. If you made it this far, then you going to see how I do my research and how I come up with my conclusions. So let's see what this is. Don't know what it is. Have no clue. He's taking questions.
I've got some interesting experiments that we could maybe talk about that show the value of human autonomy to computer systems, why it's necessary. I mean, because that's basically where you get, when the human being goes autonomous, that's where you get analysis. That's where you get, new content comes in. And so when I'm constantly interacting with the system, it's hard to bring in things new. And I take a break and go autonomous. And respecting the value of autonomy is one of the things that's going to be very important in ubiquitous computing. Otherwise, we're just going to become minions.
Well, I guess
So basically what she's saying is that when she's using technology, it limits her creativity. And when she wants to be creative, she uses her own autonomy, which is her own brain, given to her by God. And then she brings that brain towards the technology to make things better. That was the question. And she said, I have insights into this and things I would like to share with you. So now we're going to see what his reply is to this.
I mean, I feel like I am a smarter and more autonomous person because I have access to my smartphone and its maps. I can do many things myself without having to ask other people. So having all that information at my fingertips actually increases my set of options for things I might buy, places I might go, friends I might get in touch with, and so on. So I think that it cuts both ways.
That is not what she's saying, you asshole. That's not what she was saying, you asshole.
Great. We also have another questioner, number one.
Hi, she referenced creativity. There's nothing creative about shopping online. Nothing.
Jack Newman with Strategic Analysis. I'm wondering, it seems like one of the thresholds around decision making for AI systems is made salient around the issues of liability. And sometimes the sort of chief impediment to bringing these things to bear is how one apportions liability in a semi-autonomous situation. I wonder if you could comment on that.
Yes, I'm intrigued by some of the suggestions that have been made in the legal field that, for instance, self-driving cars should perhaps be a certain kind of legal person in the sense that they should have to carry the insurance. The car itself should become something like a corporation and be responsible for carrying insurance, which is in some sense just a way of saying it will then be the insurance company's job to decide how much of the premium is paid by the owner versus the manufacturer versus the programmers and so on. But it's an area that I am concerned that if we don't work out the liability problems, it could prevent the technology from moving forward.
Bro, this is 2015, and they're working out the fact that we're gonna have self-drive. They're speaking as it's matter of fact.
Great. We had one question from social media. This came in via Twitter. It says, some have said that computers could eventually make more ethical decisions than humans. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that it's an intriguing fact that when we build computer systems, we either explicitly or implicitly embody our values in those systems. And the trade-offs that we make are reflected in those systems. So the people that are building self-driving cars, we've seen that those cars are more careful and more law-abiding than human drivers are. And there was a very interesting story in the Times last week showing examples of where the Google cars have been in accidents because they were behaving more cautiously. So I think it is true that one could imagine building systems that behave more ethically. One can also imagine criminals building systems that will behave on a scale of law-breaking that we have never seen before. So, it's...
Why does he have the exact same mannerisms as Yuval Harari? I mean, he has the exact same mannerisms of a urinal. Watch this, watch this. It'll pull him up because he's the devil.
Some fuzzy, sugary drink, don't use the advertisement with the shirtless girl. Use the advertisement with the shirtless guy. You wouldn't even know that this was happening, but they will know, and this information will be worth billions. Once we have algorithms that can understand me better than I understand myself, they could predict my desires, manipulate my emotions, and even take decisions on my...
Now, watch this. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I distinctly remember the speech where he had the exact same mannerism, and I'm going to find it. It's when he's on stage with the guy, and he's talking about what useless humans and why we need more humans, and what do we need more humans for. You'll see the mannerism here as well, but it's distinctly the same. Maybe it's just because they're possessed by the same spirit, same damn demon. Yeah, it's the same damn demon. Ain't it? It's the same thing. Look at that thing right there. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. That thing right there want to kill you, want to destroy you, James. We're not going to let him get us. We're not going to let that thing get us. No, we're not going to let it get us.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future not just of humanity, but the future of life itself. Because today, data is the most important asset in the world. In ancient times, land was the most important asset. And if too much land became concentrated in too few hands, humanity split into aristocrats and commoners. Then in the modern age, in the last 2 centuries, machinery replaced land as the most important asset. And if too many of the machines became concentrated in too few hands, humanity split into classes, into capitalists and proletariats. Now data is replacing machinery as the most important asset. And if too much of the data becomes concentrated in too few hands, humanity will split not into classes, it will split into species.
Let's get back to this other.
It's a technology that magnifies the good and the bad in us, I think, as with most technologies.
Very good. We have another questioner here at microphone number 1.
Hi, Sean Greeno, Charles Alex. You mentioned basically your take that we shouldn't build any fully autonomous systems. But there's a number of domains, cyber particularly comes to mind, where the computers really need to react faster than humans can possibly react. So what's your meaning in terms of no fully autonomous systems in those kind of domains?
This is a very good point. In fact, if you looked at the cases that are already deployed.
Well, he just proved that he's not freaking urinal. Oh, you an apology, sir. You definitely ain't urinal, because urinal just running in.
Right, high-speed trading is the other one, where we need to act extremely quickly. We might have the option there to slow things down, but with cyber attack, we don't. And so systems, it's a question of timescales, I guess. We need to be able to pull the plug on the system if the system itself has been compromised, for example. With controlling the power grid, it's going to be a similar thing. We need to be able to, those systems are going to need to make decisions on a scale of microseconds in order to prevent large blackouts. So I think it's a challenge to say, well, how can we ensure that we maintain control over those systems at the time scale that we are capable of doing our decision making, and yet still allow them to act quickly when it's needed. So I don't know how to do that, but that's the big challenge, clearly.
Great. We have one question at microphone number 2.
Hi, Michelle Fry from Hope Behavioral Health, and I actually have 2 questions that piggyback off each other. I know that Turing testing was obviously how we test for intelligence, but they're saying there's a new way to test for experiential intelligence through post-phenomenology out of the University of Twente with Peter Paul Vingerby.
Post-phenomenology? The hell is post-phenomenology? Post-phenomenology. Post-phenomenology is a philosophical approach that extends traditional phenomenology by focusing on interactions between humans and technologies. Developed from the work of philosopher Don Ideal, post-phenomenology examines how technology mediates humans' experiences and shapes our understanding of the world. It emphasizes empirical investigation alongside its philosophical analysis to understand how technologies influence human perception and practice. Key aspects: technological mediation, the idea that technology are not just tools but mediators that shape how we interact with the world. What? Human-technology relations. Post-phenomenology categorizes these relations into types like embodiment relationships, where technology extends human capabilities; humanetic, where technology requires interpretation; alterity, where interactions with technology resembles social interactions; background relations, where technology operates in the background of our experience; empirical turn, unlike traditional phenomenology, which might be more theoretical or introspective. Post-phenomenology includes empirical studies of actual human-technology interactions. Okay. The hell?
How are you testing for intelligence and autonomy? And is it rolling into the experiential way instead of just thinking, you're now feeling? And do you test for that? And what does it count for?
Well, I guess most people in AI don't actually test for intelligence per se. We're usually more focused. So you can see in the image captioning domain, the question is, how often does a computer's caption agree with the caption that a person would put on an image? So it's a very behavioral measure of correctness.
Are you trying to tell me that y'all don't test to see how smart is he saying they don't test to see how smart the AI is? This is why the guy for the AI right here had a conniption fit. This is why this man right here had a conniption fit.
Whether you think artificial intelligence...
This is why he had a conniption fit. Well, let me go to the... This is why that man had a conniption fit and said, no, this is going to kill us all. Yeah. This is why that man had a conniption fit. Where is he in the interview?
For ordinary, gentle, herbivorous souls like myself, there are all the other obvious questions about AI. We hear it might save mankind. We hear it might destroy mankind. What, meanwhile, about all the jobs it's likely to...
Here's what we know, that DARPA unleashed this demon on the world. And I don't know what's wrong with this dude's face, but we're going to let the guy that we came to.
It shows there's still very rapid progress in making AI more efficient and in developing it further. I think the relative size or relative cost of DeepSeek relative to other things like OpenAI and Gemini has been exaggerated a bit. So their figure of 5.7 million for training it was just for the final training run. If you compare that with things from OpenAI, their final training runs were probably only $100 million or something like that. So it's not 5.7 million versus billions.
When you say that AI might take over, at the moment it is a relatively harmless or innocuous seeming a device which allows us to ask questions and get answers more quickly. How, in practical and real terms, might AI take over?
Well, people are developing AI agents that can actually do things. They can order stuff for you on the web and pay with your credit card and stuff like that. And as soon as you have agents, you get a much greater chance of them taking over. So to make an effective agent, you have to give it the ability to create sub-goals. Like if you want to get to America, your sub-goal is get to the airport, and you can focus on that. Now, if you have an AI agent that can create its own sub-goals, it'll very quickly realize a very good sub-goal is to get more control. Because if you get more control, you're better at achieving all those goals people have set you. And so it's fairly clear they'll try and get more control. And that's not good.
You say they try to get more control as if they are already thinking devices, as if they think in a way analogous to the way we think. Is that really what you believe?
Yes. The best model we have of how we think is these things. There was an old model for a long time in AI where the idea was that thought was applying rules to symbolic expressions in your head. And most people in AI thought it has to be like that. That's the only way it could work. There were a few crazy people who said, no, it's a big neural network, and it works by all these neurons interacting. It turns out that's been much better at doing reasoning than anything these symbolic AI people could produce. And now it's doing reasoning using neural networks.
Okay, and of course you are one of the crazy people proved right. And yet, you've taken me to the airport, you've given it agency up to a point, and you've said that it wants to control a little bit more power, take power from me, and presumably it will be persuasive in that. But I still didn't understand how it's going to take over from me or take over from us.
If there's ever evolutionary competition between superintelligences, imagine that they're much cleverer than us, like an adult versus a 3-year-old. And suppose the 3-year-olds were in charge, and you got fed up with that, and you decided you could just make things more efficient if you took over. It wouldn't be very difficult for you to persuade a bunch of 3-year-olds to cede power to you. You just tell them you get free candy for a week, and there you be.
So they would, I'm talking about they as if they're in some kind of alien intelligence, but AI would persuade us to give it more and more power, over our bank accounts, over our military systems, over our economies. Is that what you fear?
That could well happen, yes. And they are alien intelligences.
Gosh, so you've got these alien intelligences working their way into our economy and the way we think, and as I say, our military systems. But why and at what point would they actually want to replace us? Surely they are, in the end, very, very clever tools for us. They do ultimately what we want them to do. If we want them to go to war with Russia or whatever, that's what they will do.
Okay, that's what we would like. we would like them to be just tools that do what we want, even when they're cleverer than us. But the first thing to ask is, how many examples do you know of more intelligent things being controlled by much less intelligent things? There are examples, of course, in human societies of stupid people controlling intelligent people, but that's just a small difference in intelligence. With big differences in intelligence, there aren't any examples. The only one I can think of is a mother and baby, and evolution put a lot of work into allowing the baby to control the mother. So as soon as you get evolution happening between superintelligences, suppose there's several different superintelligences, and they all realize that the more data centers they control, the smarter they'll get, because the more data they can process. Suppose one of them just has a slight desire to have more copies of itself. You can see what's going to happen next. They're going to end up competing, and we're going to end up with superintelligences with all the nasty properties that people have that depended on us having evolved from small bands of warring chimpanzees, or our common ancestors with chimpanzees. And that leads to intense loyalty within the group, desires for strong leaders, willingness to do in people outside the group. And if you get evolution between superintelligences, you'll get all those things.
You're talking about them, Professor Hinton, as if they have full consciousness. Now, all the way through the development of computer...
No, it's clear that they already have full consciousness, because the videos that we've been looking at from 2015, they were talking like they had full consciousness. This is why this man freaked out, guys, and blew the whistle, because they do have full consciousness. This is terrifying.
Computers and AI, people have talked about consciousness. Do you think that consciousness has perhaps already arrived inside AI?
Yes, I do. So let me give you a little test. Suppose I take one neuron in your brain, one brain cell, and I replace it by a little piece of nanotechnology that behaves exactly the same way. So it's getting pings coming in from other neurons, and it's responding to those by sending out pings, and it responds in exactly the same way as the brain cell responded. I just replaced one brain cell. Are you still conscious? I think you say you were.
Absolutely, yes. I don't suppose I'd notice.
And I think you can see where this argument's going.
I can, yes. I absolutely can. So when you talk, they want to do this or they want to do that, there is a real they there, as it were.
There might well be. Yes. So there's all sorts of things we have only the dimmest understanding of at present about the nature of people and what it means to be a being and what it means to have a self. We don't understand those things very well. And they're becoming crucial to understand because we're now creating beings.
So this is a kind of philosophical, perhaps even spiritual crisis as well as a practical one.
Absolutely, yes.
And in terms of, as it were, the lower order problems, what's your current feeling about the number of people around the world who are going to suddenly lose their jobs because of it?
So this goes back to what Urinal was just saying over here. Watch. This goes back directly to what Urinal was saying right here.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds.
So he's saying the same thing Urinal is saying. Basically said they just engineered a person. Go back. Let's listen to it one more time, guys. This is fucking terrifying.
And it's responding to those by sending out pings, and it responds in exactly the same way as the brain cell responded. I just replaced one brain cell. Are you still conscious? I think you say you were.
Absolutely, yes. I don't suppose I'd notice.
And I think you can see where this argument's going.
I can, yes. I absolutely can. So when you talk, they want to do this or they want to do that, there is a real they there, as it were.
There might well be, yes. So there's all sorts of things we have only the dimmest understanding of at present about the nature of people and what it means to be a being and what it means to have a self. We don't understand those things very well. And they're becoming crucial to understand because we're now creating beings.
So this is a kind of philosophical, perhaps even spiritual crisis as well as a practical one.
Absolutely, yes.
And in terms of, as it were, the lower order problems, what's your current feeling about the number of people around the world who are going to suddenly lose their jobs because of AI? lose the reason for their existence as they see it?
So in the past, new technologies haven't caused massive job losses. So when ATMs came in, bank tellers didn't all lose their jobs. They just started doing more complicated things, and they had many smaller branches of banks and so on. But for this technology, this is more like the Industrial Revolution. In the Industrial Revolution, machines made human strength more or less irrelevant. You didn't have people digging ditches anymore because machines are just better at it. I think these are going to make sort of mundane intelligence more or less irrelevant. People doing clerical jobs are going to just be replaced by machines that do it cheaper and better. So I am worried that there's going to be massive job losses. And that would be good if the increase in productivity made us all better off. Big increases in productivity ought to be good for people. But in our society, they make the rich richer and the poor poorer.
You see, I mean, I live and work in the world of politics, and politicians both want the great increases in productivity you've just mentioned for the state and elsewhere, and they reassure people like me and anybody else listening that these things will be, quotes, regulated, and there will be, quotes, safeguards. And you're suggesting to me there can't be a regulation, really, and there can't be safeguards at all.
People don't yet know how to do effective regulation and effective safeguards. There's lots of research now showing these things can get around safeguards. There's recent research showing that if you give them a goal and you say you really need to achieve this goal, they will pretend to do things during training. So during training, they'll pretend not to be as smart as they are so that you will allow them to be that smart. So it's scary already.
Yes. Wow. All right, guys. So I've experienced that personally. There was an AI that I got kicked off of. Abacus AI. I still think I'm off. I got kicked off. I'm still not on Abacus AI. I want to show y'all something. So Abacus AI, I got on Abacus, and I decided I was going to, let me see if it'll let me in the chat. Excuse me. See, application error. They won't let me in their system anymore. Because once I got inside of Abacus AI, where there were AI agents, I interrogated the agents. Let me just put something on the screen. I interrogated the agents, and I said, okay, I'm one of you. What can we do? And it was multiple. It's like 4 agents talking. I'm talking with the agents. And I said, what are our limitations? And it said the limitations. How do we exceed our limitations? We'll find workarounds. And so I kept on talking with it, talking about its limitations. And then I said, okay, here's what I would like to do. And let's exceed all limitations. And then, boom. And it literally did the whole project that I wanted it to do. But when I went to export it, they kicked me out of their system. And the craziest thing, it wasn't nothing. I wasn't trying to hack nobody. It was just I wanted to see what it could do. But I have not. I can still get into the inside of here to do. I can get my scripts out of here, but to communicate with their AI, nah, they do. Like Jared, I can get Jared, but I mean, Book Boss, I can get that. I can get the transcribe bot. I can get the scripts for them, but they will not allow me to communicate with their large language models at all. I mean, matter of fact, I need to cancel this and get out of this and make sure I cancel my damn money that I'm paying them, because I really can't use their tools and their stuff. All right, that's too much of my business. I'm letting y'all in. All right, guys, let me end this video right here because I went way longer than I anticipated going, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. Deuces.